demons, a desolated planet, and guns. Lots of big guns. These elements are the ones that make Doom a unique experience. Even though those factors are not unique to the franchise, Doom manages to create alluring high-paced action with the use of them. In this episode, I am going to dissect several aspects of the game in an attempt to explain how Doom engages players through its combat and world design. So, let's get to it. Constituting about 80 to 90% of the entire time we invest in the game, combat carries the essential responsibility to deliver the spirit of the Doom's franchise. The affordable complexity that the combat difficulty presents to players allows for them to gradually adjust to the challenges and absorb them in an increasingly pleasant way. Demon encounters are highly accelerating, and the game makes use of vibrant, contrasting colorations to provide the players with cues about the circumstances that surround them. Undertones of red are used to dramatize when players are taking damage or get low on ammunition. Tints of yellow are shown to help spot out when ammunition resources are being added to the player's inventory, and blue is used to depict little healing tokens that players can gather to recover their health. Intermittent pulsing blue and yellow also signifies when an enemy has become available for a special execution. That will result in them dropping ammunition and healing tokens. And when off combat, players can usually follow the stream of green lights to explore available open areas. With such an assorted chromatic palette, players can entrust more heavily in their natural visual instinct to drive their decisions during the convoluted combats of Doom, making the overall adventure more easy to take in. As players naturally become more accustomed to the visually driven combat mechanics, they will be subjected to a sort of absorption of flow that takes over their attention, allowing them to wholly concentrate on what is taking place before their eyes during the demonic encounters. Executing special finishers, picking up resources for armor, ammunition, or health, avoiding taking damage from incoming attacks, to using your weapons wisely for every situation, Doom provides a continuous rush of challenges that players need to face to persevere through the different levels in the game. Doom has a deep level of complexity within its combat system, getting down to how many shots or combination of different weapon hits it takes to defeat diverse types of enemies brings a very strategic feel that adds to the feeling of velocity and constant focus shift that comes with Doom's high-paced combat. There are moments of release provided by cutscenes or moments of world exploration that create time to wonder, gain intel, and enjoy an aesthetically and graphically gratifying world. Another more combat-driven moments of relief are the special finishers and the body explosions and deaths that allow players to contemplate some great working animations and that create some spacing from the rush of the combat. This allows players to have a moment of calm so that they can release tension and come back and have a greater level of focus when fighting again. Doom embraces the power that games have to make players focus on what is happening in the present. A core strategy that is utilized to emphasize this premise of presence in the game is to extrapolate the story and the exploration from the combat parts. Other than having a top navigation bar that shows where some of the objectives are located, Doom hides the rest of the exploration from the main view players have of the game. This makes the visible space show mostly interactable items or paths to follow that will lead players from one encounter to the next. Doom shows a simple story that doesn't detract from the mechanical focus of the game and merges fittingly with the environments and characters presented along the adventure. The characters are simple and easy to break down, and the graphics during the short but carefully designed cutscenes make them pleasant to gaze at. Other environmental elements like hologram recordings add to the global vibe of the world and provide with details about missions and lore that can satisfy players with a more exploratory spirit. The simplicity of the story and environment make it so that players don't really need to put a lot of thought into them and allows for a bigger focus on the fast-paced flow of the core game mechanics. Doom allows for an important deal of gear and weapon customization, which increases the freedom players have to approach the combat within the game. The Predator suit can be optimized for different builds like damage per second, dexterity, and tank, and the wide arrangement of weapons have different modes and upgrades that can also be unlocked. Personally, I decided to upgrade the Predator suit to scan the area and reveal hidden secrets and resources. This way, I was able to get more resources and get an overall feel of the game before starting to use all my suit and weapon upgrade points. But for players who have it clear from the beginning, getting your suit right for the type of combat you know you are best at will help you have a more smooth and satisfying experience. Plus, the suit and weapon animations look fantastic, and reading the descriptions of the upgrades and thinking about improving your character makes you feel more invested in the combat and game at large. Doom's rune trials are yet another aspect that assists players to better use different techniques with each weapon and improve the way they are used in combat. For instance, the first rune trial I encountered was to kill 15 fast-moving enemies with the shotgun before the time runs out. The game initially gives you 10 seconds, and adds 2 more after you kill one enemy. My first approach was to go after every enemy I could see and shoot at it. I wasn't about the position of the enemy within the arena or about my distance of shooting, and I repeated this till it proved to not be a useful approach. After a few tries, I mean a few, 10 to 20, I found out that placing myself at a mid-range gave me better accuracy and allowed me to maintain these fast-moving enemies on target. Also, shooting the ones at the edges of the screen prevented me from dividing my visible enemies into too many clusters, making it easier to find enemies at which to shoot faster. This strategy ended up being useful and helped me finish the challenge. And it did more than that. After I finished the challenge, I felt that the way I was using the shotgun had vastly improved, and I was wasting less ammunition and getting more entertainment from the combat. It also made me want to upgrade the game to the next level of difficulty to see how far my skills could go. That rune challenge ended up being the reason why the shotgun was the weapon that I upgraded and used the most through the rest of the experience, and was yet another incentive to focus on perfecting the skills focused on the combat. With all this said, we can see how there are many substantial components of Doom that aim to promote the importance of the combat mechanic, and most of them do a very good job at it. It can be concluded that Doom's high-paced, action-packed, complexity-rich, and visually astonishing combat is something very special in the world of video games, and this last release stands up to its predecessor and many of the games that are at the top of our current generation of shooters. I highly recommend you guys take a look at it if you haven't already, because I really enjoyed playing this title, even though shooters are not really the kind of game that I usually go for. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it's been a long time since my last video, so I apologize for that, and I hope you guys like what I did in this one. If so, please hit the thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, and as always, I hope to see you in the next video of the Chuck Files.